Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, 3A. I am Casey Kibalyo, and I am the third discussant of Chapter 8, Critical Literacy. Critical literacy has gathered momentum in recent years to help prepare children for the life in a knowledge society. What literacy scholar and educator Alan Luke refers to as a new basic for navigating a text and media-saturated world. So in critical literacy, it helps us to read text in deeper and meaningful ways. Kumbaga, ina-expect ang mga students na intindihin yung relationship between language and the power it can hold. Also, to find embedded discrimination in media. There are also key concepts. Number one, all texts are constructions. What is written is the product of many decisions and determining factors. The messages are constructed based on the author's attitudes, interpretations, and conclusions. They also present productions which which have specific purposes. Number two, all texts contain belief and value messages, whether oral, print, or visual media. Texts contain messages which reflect the biases and opinions of their authors or creators, whether intentionally, manipulative, or not. This means that no text can be neutral or value-free. Kasi 'di ba pansin natin sa mga nakasulat sa internet, sa mga magazine, newspapers, lahat 'yan ay may purpose. Pwedeng nagbibigay ng information, opinions, news, or to persuade other people. And it depends upon the author or creator. Number 3, each person interprets messages differently. Demographic factors such as age, culture, gender, and socioeconomic status, as well as prior experience and knowledge, play a role in how we interpret a message. Hindi lahat ng tao ay pare-pareho ng interpretation sa isang bagay, especially sa messages na nakasulat because of the demographic factors. We all differ from experiences and background. That's why we differ from how we perceive a text. Number 4, texts serve different interests. Most media messages are created for profit or to persuade, but all texts are produced intentionally for a purpose. Kumbaga, this text arouses the attention of people na makakakita at makakabasa. And it is better na yung formation and title ay maganda so that people will be interested sa kung ano ang nilalaman nito. Number 5, each medium develops its own language in order to position readers or viewers in certain ways, whether TV program, website, or novel. Each medium creates meaning differently and each has distinctive techniques, conventions, and aesthetics. 'Di ba kapag may gusto tayong iparating, isulat o ipakita sa tao ay may iba-ibang pamamaraan tayo. Pwede sa TV, internet, like websites, or radio. May kanya-kanyang techniques yan para gumanda and to catch the attentions of the readers or viewers. Yung language na tinutukoy ay hindi literal na language talaga, kundi kung papaano siya ipaparating sa ibang tao. There are also 4 resources model. So this 4 resources model aims to emphasize the importance of the critical literacy concepts that I explained earlier. So the first model is, number 1, code breaking. Students need to be able to identify letters in the alphabet and sounds in words, decipher spelling and grammar conventions such as sentence structure and text organization, and use graphics and other visual to break the code of text. So, sa code breaking, it is equivalent to basic or functional literacy, meaning we are able to decode and comprehend information at the same time. Kaya nating intindihan yung message or nakasulat sa text. Number 2, making meaning. Rather than approaching text passively, students need to be encouraged to be a text participant, to use their own prior knowledge and experience when reading to interpret what the author is saying and to anticipate where he or she might be going next. Dito sa making meaning, the students need to learn how to deconstruct text para malaman mo kung ano ba yung purpose ng author and yung intention niya. Kung nagbibigay ba siya ng information or persuading, and also to examine and then find the most effective ways to convey their thinking. Next is number 3, using text. Students need to be introduced to different text forms and how these have different uses which shape the language, structure, and organization chosen by the author. These are all important so that students become critical thinkers of text na nakakaintindi ng meaning hindi lang ng purpose ng author, kundi pati na rin yung context in which a text is read or interpreted. Number 4, analyzing text. Critical literacy teaches that no text is neutral. That students need to ask what is the text trying to convince me and why? And whose interest does it serve? So dito, pumapasok na yung pag-analyze ng students sa kung ano yung motive ng author. To consider fairness, accuracy, and reliability, and to recognize their own power as readers. They need to be encouraged to evaluate what is said and how it is said in order to uncover assumptions and ideas to respond when they disagree and to take social action. Next is some critical literacy strategies. 3 key strategies that specifically promote a critical perspective are: number 1, problem posing. Problematizing provides teachers with a way to consciously and intentionally nurture a critical perspective. Problem posing requires that we ask students questions such as the following: how might others understand this text differently? How has the message of the text been constructed or crafted? Who is the intended audience? How has this text colored your view of reality? What lifestyles, values, and points of view are represented or have been omitted? Who created this text and why? Who benefits if this message is accepted? Who may be disadvantaged? What techniques and stylistic elements have been used and why? Readers needs to question messages. It is very beneficial because it helps us to think critically and hindi lang tayo magre-rely sa kung ano ang nababasa natin. Dapat mag-respond ka rin and ask questions to deeper your understanding doon sa nabasa mo. Next is number 2, juxtaposing. The intent of this strategy is to have students come to an understanding of point of view. Example of this is yung editorials, which are set side by side so that students can compare authors' bias, intent, as well as the strategies used to influence the reader or the viewers. Number 3 is switching. This is an effective strategy for getting students to consider and the impact of alternative perspectives and to identify which voices are present and which voices are missing from text. So, some switching examples are gender switch in which students replace key characteristics which characters or the other gender. Next is setting switch in which students set the story in a different time or place or switch the social of class of character. And then there are many instructional approaches available to help support critical literacy in the classroom. A few of these are listed below. Number 1 is media stations. Invite your students to bring in samples of everyday text, CD covers, video games, magazines, food packaging, ads, etc. And set up a media station for each with table talk questions to get the discussion started. So in media questions, it can also help us to become critical literate by asking and answering some questions like, do you think bad press makes a singer more popular? What techniques do designers use to grab your attention? And those are the possible questions that you can throw in media questions. Number 2 is think aloud. This strategy encourages the teachers and students to make their thinking explicit so that others in the class can join the discussion. So here, you need to ask questions that is not vague so that others can participate, and para maging lively, you need to encourage students to become vocal of what they think para mabigyang linaw yun, like asking, what is the author's thinking? What are the underlying assumptions? Number 3, questioning the author. When responding to question prompts from the teacher, example, what does the teacher mean here? And whose voice is absent? Students use an organizer divided into 4 columns that are labeled the question, the author says, I say so, and so. So, dito para mas maging organized, yung students are using an organizer that is divided into 4 columns. It is for them to easily identify, and their answers are all organized based on the questions provided. Number 4, 4 corners. This collaborative activity encourages students to consider different points of view by engaging them in dialogue with only those who have the same opinion but those who have the differing viewpoints. The classroom is labeled with 4 points of view: strongly agree, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. Dito naman pumapasok yung 4 points of view, which is again, strongly agree, disagree, and strongly agree. And then students are asked a question and then move to a corner that reflects their opinion. Number 5, 6 hats. Based on Edward de Bono's identification of different thinking styles and selecting a metaphorical hat to represent each. Like for example, yung white is for fact. And these are example. And these are all important in teaching the students to think critically and to become critical literate. So, dito na mag-end yung topic ko. Thank you for watching.